Alright, so I've been extensively trying out two AI coding tools for the past few days, and they are Databutton and Replit Agent. Now for starters, both Databutton and Replit Agent are two coding tools or AI coding tools where you can build complex web apps by giving simple natural text prompts. Okay, so you could go ahead and say I want to build this kind of an app, these features are needed, etc. And you could go ahead and type it in English, and the AI tool will write code, deploy the app, test it out, fix errors, and do all that stuff for you. And today in this video, I'm going to compare both Databutton and Replit Agent and find which one works the best and which tool is suitable to what kind of a user base and things like that. Now, without wasting further ado, let's jump straight in. So basically, we are going to build the exact same app using both of these platforms so we can come to a fair conclusion. And also, I'm going to give the exact same prompt to both Replit Agent and Databutton. Now, let's get started. Alright, so this right here is Databutton and this right here is Replit Agent, and I'll quickly go ahead and sign into both these platforms. There you have it. So I'm already logged into Replit Agent, and this is the interface that we'll be working with today for Replit Agent. And this right here is Databutton, and to create a new app, all I gotta do is to click on this option that says new app, and it will open up a form like this where I gotta explain some details as to how I want the app to be. And the first thing that I gotta give is the name of the app. And before I continue further, let me quickly tell you what I'm trying to build today. So basically, I'm trying to build a project management or project tracking tool like Trello. So there'll be like multiple boards like Kanban boards, and I should be able to add tasks to each of these boards, and I should be able to freely drag and drop these tasks between these boards. Basically, a project management tool like Trello, you could say. So that's what I'm trying to build. And as for the prompt, I'll be giving the exact same prompt as the starting point for both Databutton and Replit, and we'll let it do its thing. Okay, we'll analyze the starting point, the result, and we'll then take it up from there. And as for the app name, I'll go ahead and give it, let's say, Trello clone, and the pitch as a project tracking tool like Trello, and the app description as this one. The user can create multiple boards, Kanban boards, and add new items in each board. The user should be able to give a name to the board and drag and drop items between different boards. So this is the app description, and this is the pitch, and this is the name. Target audience, I will leave as it is. UI library, we have two options, pre-built components, that is ShadCN and Tailwind for full flexibility. For now, I will leave it as ShadCN. Everything else looks good to me. So I'll go ahead and click on this generate starting point with AI option. And now I'll head back to Replit and give the exact same prompt, a project management tool like Trello, and I'll click on the start building option. Now for creating the initial prototype, it will take some time. So because it has to write a lot of code, so we'll wait till it is done. And as you can see, Databutton is now initializing the app, analyzing the guidelines, and then it will extract the design guidelines, generate plan, and write the actual code. Alright, so as for Replit, it has asked me that I'll help you create a Trello-like project management tool using React with drag and drop functionality, blah, blah, blah. So I'll go ahead and select the build the initial prototype option and click on approve plan and start. Alright, so now both of these platforms is writing the code for the same, and we'll wait till it is done. Also, we'll see which one completes the task first. So let's wait. Alright, so as I can see, Replit is still writing the code and Databutton has already created the initial prototype. So this is the initial version. In which ways we'll wait for the Replit agent to complete as well. So let's wait. Alright, so Replit agent has also completed the same, and Databutton completed it fast, and Replit agent took about additional 2 to 3 minutes to build the initial version. And it says, can you verify if the Kanban board loads and if you can create new boards and cards? I'll open up the web view. So here we have the preview of the app. And before we continue further, let me quickly go through the UI of Databutton and Replit Agent. Now the UI of both of these platforms are almost exactly the same. So we have the list of all the files, UI components, API endpoints, media, internal storage, and everything else to the left side in Databutton. And towards the center side, we can see the preview of the app. Towards the bottom, we have all the logs and everything else. And towards the right side, this is where we will interact with the AI. We'll give our prompt, the instructions and everything else. And towards the top, we have additional options to view the code, history, deploy, etc, etc. And when it comes to Replit Agent, towards the right side, we have the actual preview of the app. And towards the right side, we have the chat interface. We'll be instructing the AI what to do. And okay, if I click on this icon, I should be able to find all the files within this project. And as for the UI, both of these looks good and also works, so that's good. So let's just go ahead and try out the app it has generated. So I'll go ahead and open it up in a new tab in both of these, so we can have a full screen preview of the initial version developed by Databutton and Replit. So this right here is what Replit has generated. So we have a title that says Kanban board, and we can click to add a new board, give a title, let's say to do, click on add board. Okay, we have that board in here. Let's say and add another one, in progress, click on add board. So we have two boards in here. I can add a new card, let's say task 1, click enter maybe. Okay, add card. Similarly, let's say task 2, add card. So far everything looks good. And the next important feature that we asked is to drag and drop these tasks between these boards. So let me go ahead and drag and drop task 1 to in progress. And yes, it works. There's a slight delay, but that's okay. Let's move task 2 to here, and it works. So everything for the initial prototype seems working. Now let's just head back to Databutton. And definitely the UI of the apps looks far better when it comes to Databutton. Now if you look, this one is too basic and does not really have a lot going on here. But in terms of the UI, I like what a Databutton has generated. And now let's just see if it actually works. Okay, now we have a initial board in here, so that's a good one. So these all are tasks, and I can add a new one clicking on this add button. And now let me see if I can drag and drop this research competitors to from to do to in progress. So I'll drag and drop it in here, and it works. And it's also more responsive and works fast, I guess. I'm able to move it in here. We have a nice subtle animation. If you notice, if I copy it there, you see a nice push up effect, and we have the option to move. And all right, so everything is pretty much working, right? And next up, we also have a toggle to enable or disable dark mode towards the top right. And again, another important feature is the add option, the ability to add a new, let's say, task. Okay, so if I click on this add option, well, nothing happens. All right, so the add option isn't working, but in here we can add a new card, blah blah blah, add card, and it works. Similarly, you can also go ahead and create a new board as well. So apart from the UI stuff, the actual functionality is working in Replit, but in Databutton, the drag and drop feature and everything else works, but we are unable to add a new card or even create a board. All right. And now when I come to Databutton, I see this message right here. So I've generated a starting point for your Trello clone with basic Kanban board functionality, including drag and drop between boards and theme switcher. Let's enhance it by adding the ability to create a new board and items. Would you like to proceed with implementing these features? Okay, I forgot to read this one. So what does Replit say? Can you verify if the Kanban board loads and if you can create boards and cards? Yes, it works. And all I gotta give is, let's say, yes. Now if I give yes, Databutton will go ahead and start implementing the feature where we can go ahead and create new boards and add items. I'm sorry, I did not really read that message. So let's just wait. And before that, would you like me to proceed with changes? Yes, click on yes, and let's wait. So Databutton is now writing the code for the same. And one thing that I've noticed is that the AI agent within Databutton is a bit more interactive. So it goes ahead and tells it our plan, and it will ask us if you want to, so this is my plan, this is what I'm going to do, is this okay? And we can go ahead and say yes, and it will go ahead and write the code. It even gave me a snippet of the code, and it asked me, would you like me to proceed with implementing these changes? And I just said yes, and it started working on it. And one cool thing about Databutton is that anytime an error occurs, the agent will take all the error code, the logs and everything else, and try to fix the error all by itself. So you don't have to lift a finger. So the AI agent will take care of all that. And now as you can see, the agent has added the ability to create new boards. All right, so if I click on this option that says new board, a pop-up appears, and I can say, let's say put 1, click on create board, and I can see the board in here. Now the ability to add new boards is working, and it is asking me, would you like to proceed with adding the ability to create new items within each of these boards? So all I gotta say is yes. And in the meantime, let me head back to Replit and see what it is up to. How does the new styling look? Is the gradient background visible, and do the board looks more polished with better shadows and hover effects? Oh, I didn't notice that. So let me quickly open it up in a new tab. Well, I'm unable to see any gradient effects or anything. So let's say I'm unable to see any gradient colors or hover effects. Do we have any hover effects? No, right? I'll go ahead and hit enter, and let's wait. Alright, so Databutton has successfully added both the ability to create new boards and add items. So let me quickly go ahead and test it out. To create a new board, I can click on this option, a pop-up appears, and let's say to do 1, click on create board, and we have that new board in here. So creation of new board is working. And next important thing is the drag and drop feature, which was already working and it's still working. And next up, we need to add new items. So I can click on this add item option and a pop-up appears, and we can add an item title as well as a description. So let's say blah 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 example content, and I can click on add item, and there you have it, it's working. And I guess I should be able to drag and drop it. And so in Databutton, pretty much everything works the way we want it to. And now let's just go back to Replit and see what it is up to. Can you see the gradient colors and backgrounds and header text, etc.? Oh, now this looks good. All right, so this right here is far better than the old one. And still we have a little bit of styling issues here because these boards are indefinitely long. And yeah, the colors and everything looks good. It's okay, and it works. All right, so the basic feature is now working, or the core functionality of the app is now working in both Databutton and Replit. Now let's just go ahead and try to do another thing. Okay, I want to create a landing page or the home page. So whenever a user visits the home page, there should be like a landing page explaining about our app, and upon clicking the start option, they should be taken to the dashboard, and that is where we want this Kanban boards and everything else to be. So I'll go ahead and give that prompt in here. Now this is the exact same prompt that I'll give to Databutton as well as Replit. So I'll go ahead and put it up in here and click on next, and let's wait. Determining the best approach, and it will also start writing the code. And at any moment in time, if you want to view the code for any of these pages, let's say this one right here, that's board dialog, the UI component. If you want to view code for the same, you can click on this one and click on this option that says edit code, and you'll be able to view the code for the same. Okay. And similarly, if you want to view the code in Replit, you can go ahead and click on this files option and select any of these files, and it will show you the code for the same as well. All right. So let's close it for now. All right. So as I can see, Replit agent made a mistake. I noticed there's an error with the landing page related to drag handle horizontal icon from Lucid React. Let me fix that and ensure the landing page works correctly. All right, so seems like Replit agent is also capable enough to fix errors by itself. So that's also a good feature. So I guess that feature is available both in Databutton and Replit. So basically both these apps make our life a whole lot easier when dealing with errors. And similarly, another cool thing that I found only or exclusively in Databutton is that if you feel like you are stuck in anywhere and there's no way to proceed further, and you tried giving a lot of prompt and you just can't simply get it right, now Databutton also has a human touch to it. So towards the bottom left corner of the screen, you can find a little message icon. So if you click on this one, it will open up a section where you can go ahead and message and chat with a real software engineer and try to fix the problem. If I go over to click on messages option, and I can go ahead and send a message saying, okay, I am facing this issue, I am unable to proceed further, and you can go ahead and explain your issue. Now these people from Databutton team will get back to you, and if they're online, they'll be like, they'll help you to fix the problem in real time, and you can get going. Now that's a cool feature that I found in Databutton, and as of now the time zone is different and the engineers are not online, so they'll be back in 2 hours. Okay, now that's one cool thing that I found within Databutton, and as a matter of fact, I have not found that feature in any other AI coding tools like Bolt or V0. So that's a cool thing. And in Replit, it says, can you see the landing page? All right, so Replit is done writing the code, and there we have it. So we have a basic landing page, and we have a couple of cards in here, and also an option to go to the dashboard. And if I click on this go to dashboard option, it should take me to the dashboard, loaded all the previous data, and everything is working as expected. And to be honest, I'm not really a great fan of the UI of this one right here, but you can go ahead and further customize it according to your need. All you gotta do is to give subsequent prompt. And now let's just head back to Databutton and see what it's up to. And as I can see, it has created this landing page, and hopefully everything is working. And before that, it is asking if we want to deploy it. I'll go ahead and deploy this app, and your app should be available at astro.databutton.app/Trello. So after the deployment, this is going to be the address, and if I visit that address, I'll be able to access the app. And let me quickly go ahead and refresh and see how things are. And now this is the landing page that Databutton has created for us. And if I click on the get started button, it should hopefully take us to the dashboard, and we are able to create, let's say, new board, add new card as well, move things around, and everything basically works the way we want to. So both Databutton and Replit agent was able to do exactly what we asked for. And apart from the UI standpoint, because the UI of the app generated by Databutton looks a bit better, and we also have this nice switch between dark mode and light mode. And now apart from the UI, the functionality of both the app works, and I mean the app generated by Replit and Databutton works for that matter. So basically we have created a Trello like project management tool using both these platforms. And now that we have everything done and ready, let's just go ahead and try to implement authentication in our app. And for that I'll head to Replit and say implement authentication in the app, and I go ahead and hit enter. So Replit Agent does not really have a built-in plugin or extension, anything as such that will help us implement authentication. So we'll have to go ahead and say implement authentication in the app and take it up from there. But in Databutton, we have support for extensions or plugins, you could say. So we can go ahead and add authentication in a single click. So that's one cool thing about Databutton. So if you click on this option right here that says extensions, and if you click on it, you'll be able to find extensions in here. And we have an extension called Firebase Auth. So basically, if you enable this option, it will help you to add authentication to your app, and you don't really have to write any code or give additional prompt. So I'll go ahead and click on this install option, and it says paste your Firebase config in here under project. Okay, so all we got to do is to head over to Firebase console. So basically we'll be using Firebase for authentication. So I'll go ahead and click on create new project, and let's say Trello, click on continue, disable this one for now, click on create project, and preparing your project, please wait. Okay, all right, so the Firebase project is ready. I can click on continue, and all I need to do is to copy the Firebase configuration or the app configuration. And if I click on this web option, and let's name the app Trello, click on register app, and I hope it should give us all the configuration needed to set up authentication. So let's wait. All right, so we have the authentication in here. So I can go ahead and copy everything, that is const Firebase config, head back to Databutton, and I guess pasting it here should do. All right, so I've pasted all the details. And next up, to enable your desired authentication sign-in method. So basically we need to do a bit more customization in Firebase. So I'll head back to Firebase, click on continue to console. And let's say I want to implement, let's say, sign in with Google. Okay, so people with a Google account can come and log into their or create an account on my platform using their Google account. So I'll click on this option that says authentication, and I'll click on get started. And next up, let's just say Google, enable, select an email address, click on save. So basically I have enabled a sign in method. And next up, I gotta copy the Databutton URL and put it in the authorized domain section. All right, so if I go over to settings and authorized domains, I should put my Databutton URL first, and next up I need to copy my deployment URL as well. And my deployment URL is astro.databutton.app/Trello, and I'll click on add as well. Now I have added both these URLs, and what next? That should be it, I guess. And I can click on the install option, and it says starting installation. And now let's just head back to Replit, and it says, okay, I see there's syntax errors with auth implementation. Let me fix it. All right, so Replit is still implementing authentication. So let's wait till it is done. And now if I head back to Databutton, let's say update config, and it says starting update. And I guess okay, so Firebase auth is implemented, it seems. All right, so we have authentication successfully implemented in our app created using Databutton. So when I visit the homepage, it automatically takes me to the login page. So it has a nice sign in with Google option. So I can click on the sign in with Google button, and it should open up a pop-up and ask me to select the account to use to log into the app. So I'll go ahead and click on this email and click on continue. All right, so I'm logged in and I can access the dashboard and use the app without any problem. So authentication is successfully implemented in our Databutton app. And as I can see, we also have this login and logout pages as well. Now let's just head back to Replit and see what it's up to. And it says, all right, so it seems there is a problem with authentication in Replit. So first I'll go ahead and tell it to roll back first to the previous working point. And then we can just say like maybe implement authentication using Firebase, and let's see how far we can take things to. And as you can see, Replit is actually taking a screenshot and sending it to AI so that it can better analyze the situation and have a look at the actual output that the user sees on the screen. So that's also one good important thing about Replit. Now that same feature is not available in Databutton is what I can see. For now, authentication and everything else is implemented and everything works fine on Databutton. And let me quickly go ahead and try to implement the authentication part on my Replit app. So let's see. Okay, so let me just go ahead and say implement auth using Firebase. Okay, so Firebase is the authentication provider that is by default available in Databutton. So I'll go ahead and tell to implement using Firebase, and I'll go ahead and click enter, and let's wait. So to implement Firebase authentication, Replit is asking us to give all this information right here. So I guess I'll be able to copy the same stuff from our existing app. I'll go to project settings, and let's say, okay, I'll copy all the stuff from here. First up, we need to copy the API key and put it up in here. Next up, we need to get the project ID and put it in here. Firebase app ID. Okay, so this right here is the app ID, and I can put it in here. Auth domain. Okay, auth domain is this one right here. Next up, messaging center. What is that? This one, I guess. I'll go ahead and copy that one, put it up in here. Next up, storage bucket. All right, so this one right here. I'll go ahead and copy it as well and put it up in here. So we have all these things set up. So I'll go ahead and click on this add secret option, and let's wait. And Replit is asking if you want to save the secret to the account secrets so that you can easily access them in other Replits. So basically, Replit will go ahead and add all these environment variables, and next time if you want to work on an app and use the same Firebase project that we used in here, it will go ahead and save all these credentials, and next time onwards we can start using it. But for now, I'll click on note now. All right, so Replit is asking me to enter all these values again. So it encountered some kind of error previously, and now it wants me to enter all these details again. So let me quickly go ahead and fill it out. And now I have filled all the details, and I'll go ahead and click on add secrets options, and hopefully it will work this time, because I've been trying to implement authentication for some time now and it keeps failing. So let's try, and hopefully it works this time. All right, so it seems Replit is done implementing authentication, and it is asking me if the page is accessible /login, and try to log in the same. All right, so we have now a login page, and it is using email and password. So I'll have to go to my authentication settings and implement the email and password sign in as well. So I'll go ahead and enable it and click on save, and that should be pretty much it, is what I guess. And also might I have to configure the authorized domain, I guess. I'm not sure how to fix that, but let's just go ahead and try it out. Let's put another email address in here and password. Click on create account, and let's see what happens. Never is it created. If I go to users, and yes, it's created. As I can see, this is the email that I entered, and that's now working, and hopefully I should be able to log in now. So I'm gonna put my email in here. All right, so next up, password. Click on sign in, and there you have it. It's now working. We have implemented authentication on Replit as well. I can click on create a new board, enter a new board title, and click on add board, and nothing happens. Why? Oh my god, seems like it's not working, but I guess it shouldn't be much of a problem. You can go ahead and further give prompts and ask Replit to fix it, and hopefully it should be able to fix the same. And this is the app that Databutton has created, and let me quickly go ahead and visit the deployment URL. So this is the URL of the app that we have deployed, and let's say if you want to configure a custom domain, you can go ahead and do all that in here. And now let's just go ahead and click on get started, and it takes me to the dashboard because I'm already logged in, and I'm able to add new board. Yes, drag and drop stuff around, and seems like everything is working. And now that's for Databutton and Replit Agent, and pretty much everything is working. And right now, after we implemented authentication, this creating boards and adding new content is not working in Replit. And if you go ahead and send a further prompt, I'm pretty sure it will be able to fix it by itself. Now that's how easy it is to use both Replit and Databutton. And now it's time for our analysis. All right, so Databutton uses React for the front end and Python for the back end, and it only offers that particular tech stack. So if you are a newbie and if you don't know anything about coding and you want to build app and ship it out fast, then Databutton might be the best option for you, because you don't really have to care about the tech stack or what are the underlying technology and everything else. Databutton already takes care of all of that for you, and you can focus on implementing the core functionality, and Databutton takes care of everything else. Now, Replit is a bit more geared towards people who already knows a bit about coding. Okay, now if you know a basics of coding, or you know how things work, or if you are sure about the tech stack that you want to use, then you can go ahead and use Replit, because Replit gives total control over what backend that you want to use, what is the front end you want to use, is it React or anything else. So basically, Replit Agent gives you a bit more customization options, and if you're knowledgeable when it comes to coding side of things, then Replit might be a good option for you. But if you are a total newbie, you know nothing about coding but you want to build apps, then Databutton might be the good option for you. And again, as Databutton is tailored towards people who knows nothing about coding, they also have a human touch in here, so you can go ahead and click on this icon and start chatting with a real software engineer, and you can go ahead and fix your problem as well. So that's also one cool feature that I found in Databutton. And now, as far as the AI agent within both of these platforms is concerned, I guess the agent in Databutton is a bit more interactive, and it almost feels like I'm talking to a software engineer friend of mine. So I'm just telling, this is the feature that I want to implement this, I want to implement that, and the AI agent within Databutton takes all the input and it goes ahead, process it, and it will, okay, these are my steps that I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, let me just go ahead and do it. And it will go ahead and ask me for confirmation. I can simply type yes and it will start doing the same. And Replit is also pretty similar, but it takes a bit more time than Databutton. I mean, for implementing authentication part, it went through a lot of errors and stuff. And again, once it starts writing the code, it takes a bit more time, relatively more time than Databutton. So that's also one thing that I've noticed. And another cool thing is that if you want to implement authentication in your Databutton app, it's pretty simple, because they already have a Firebase authentication extension in here, and you can go ahead and copy paste a couple of configuration lines from this Firebase and you should be good to go. But in Replit, implementing authentication is a bit of a pain, but you can eventually reach that, but that's not a problem. It's just a ease of use kind of a authentication feature that we have here in Databutton. And as far as the UI of the website created using both of these platforms is concerned, I like the one with Databutton more, but that's not at all a problem, because you can go ahead and give further customized prompts and customize the UI of the website whatever way you want. And the bottom line here is that Replit is in a way less opinionated, and that means you will have total control over everything that you want to do in terms of whatever tech stack that you want to use, and etc, etc. But when it comes to Databutton, you're using React and Python and you're locked into it, and in a way that's actually a good thing if you know nothing about coding. And if you want to ship product faster, if that's your end goal, then I suggest you go with Databutton. And if you want more control and total flexibility over all the tech stack that you want to use, then you can also go ahead and consider using Replit. And the bottom line here is that both of these app works, and the way both of these app works are pretty similar. And again, all the features and everything else is also pretty similar, and both of these gets the job done as well. So you can go ahead and start using both Databutton and Replit Agent and find the one that suits your work. And if you are a newbie and you are new to coding space, then I'll definitely suggest you try Databutton. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show you in this video. And I hope you guys found this video useful. If yes, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.